G'day everybody, I'm Tom the Parky Modeller and I build scaled models whilst living with Parkinson's disease. I find it's a great way to keep my mind active, my hands engaged and unleashes my creative side. Today we're going to be unboxing the German Char B1 tank, which was a captured tank initially built by the French but captured by the Germans in numbers, and it's been modelled by Tamiya in 1/35th scale. I've also built the French version of this many years ago, and which actually runs. The kit comes with the high standard of Tamiya box art, which includes the 4 versions of the tank that you can build, 3 German and 1 French recaptured tank. After the fall of France, the Germans had large quantities of these captured tanks in stock, including the factories that actually made the original French tanks. They decided to put them to good use. 30 were converted to flamethrower tanks and were actually used during Operation Barbarossa, however not very successfully. The tanks were too slow and they didn't fit into the blitzkrieg mentality of the Germans. Other tanks were used as second line defensive tanks, particularly on the Western Wall. The main difference between the two tanks, or the two versions, was that the Germans carried greater amounts of tools, had a different radio. They cut a hole in one of the hatches so that the commander could get in, and also they had added armour to the front of the tank. As you can see on the next slide, the difference between the French tank was that the cupola was fully secured, and in the German version a hole was cut and a hatch was put in. In 2024 I had the great pleasure of going to the Bovington Tank Museum in Dorset, England, where I saw a Char B1 tank. This particular tank had a very interesting history. It was captured obviously by the Germans at the fall of France, modified as a second-row defensive tank, then it was shipped over to Jersey Islands where it was part of the German defence of this captured British territory, then recaptured by the Allies and given back to the French and then donated to Bovington. Tamiya has a long association with Bovington. They donate money and there's a Tamiya hall there where the museum has a number of displays. Tamiya staff regularly go to Bovington for photography and modelling of their 1/35th scale tanks. Before wrapping up the unboxing, I just wanted to highlight a few things that makes this kit quite interesting. Tamiya have been quite clever here in terms of how they've designed the kit. All of the parts for the German version of the kit are contained on sprue F. And you can see it's quite small, there's not a lot. That includes all the tools, the armour, and obviously a driver. They've also included the usual Tamiya instructions, which are first rate and fairly easy to follow. And they've also included, which I thoroughly recommend, is this colour chart of the various German versions that you can do and the recaptured French tank. On the other side, there's a brief history of the vehicle, and also talks a little bit about Bovington. My only criticism of this history is that it's printed over a picture of a tank, and it's a bit difficult to read, but that's fairly trivial in the scheme of things. Look, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed my short presentation, and if you like what you see, please like me and you can follow me. And doing this sort of reviews helps me with my confidence and in my fight with Parkinson. So thank you very much for your support.